Good morning and welcome to Hello Westchester here on WCHE every Monday from 11:30 to noon. I'm Eric Clambara, joined by Cara Corridoni, publisher of Hello Westchester, which releases every Friday, covers all the news and info related to life here in Westchester. You can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. Welcome back, Cara. How are you this morning?
I am doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Been off the air a little bit. Good to have you back.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit of took a vacation. It was kind of nice.
Yeah. Weather hold out for you?
Yeah, actually, we were expecting rain. We were down in North Carolina, but it really didn't. We didn't hit us, at least maybe in the evenings, but it turned out to be a pretty nice week.
I'm glad everything went well, and we're back here today. So the first thing, we got a lot of stuff to talk about in the program. The first thing we'll talk about is Westchester University's master plan. Yes.
So we kind of introduced this briefly last winter. This is Westchester University's 10-year plus plan. And it really includes a whole slew of initiatives that the university is hoping to get accomplished in the next decade or so. We talked about it a little bit this fall as it pertains to student housing, which is kind of a big concern locally. But it also covers a bunch more besides just the housing plans and how they plan to house a few more students. And since they introduced the plan and they finished the plan, which was completed late last year, they began introducing it kind of to students and then to townships, and that's kind of where they are now. They're shopping it around locally. It's been shared with Westchester Borough as well as West Goshen Township, which are kind of the two major players. I know East Bradford also has seen pieces of it as they have to approve things related to South Campus apartments. That's work that's going to be done there. But the university is really hoping to get both Westchester Borough and West Goshen Township to sign off on kind of the entirety of the plan. Maybe not the specifics. Every individual item will still have to go through a planning review process as any new development would have to. But this is kind of to get the okay on the whole of it, to make sure that there's not going to be any, I guess, red flags or big stoppers when they start introducing the individual projects. And the plan is massive. It's 800 pages. It has the master plan, but there's also an enrollment report and projection analysis was shared with the townships, as well as a housing report and analysis, transportation study, a main campus parking study, and then as well a comprehensive stormwater management strategy. So there's a lot to kind of dig into here. We got some early feedback from Westchester Borough manager Sean Metrick, who kind of highlighted a couple of things that, he thought the borough might be interested in learning more about. And one of those is enrollment in housing. So this is probably to be expected. So the Westchester University has been talking about kind of maintaining enrollment. So they're saying it's going to be flat for the next 5 years. However, if you look at the projections, it is going to remain flat, but that's after it peaks this fall. So they are projecting another record-breaking year this fall, which will pop it up over 13,184 students this fall. That's what they're projecting. They are projecting a slight decline after that, but only about 30 students. So that's where they're going to hold it, and then they're saying they're going to hold it. Then they're going to look to expand campus housings. Currently, there's 5,349 beds that the university kind of maintains for students. They're hoping to increase that to 6,239 beds.
And they do have the space to do that because, as it points out here with Lawrence,
yes,
that's not being used right now. It's ever since they put the new dining hall in. So it looks like, as you mentioned, from 5,300 to 6,200.
Yeah, and Lawrence is really one of the big pieces of that. In order to get it, they're focused on two areas. One is demolishing Lawrence Hall and rebuilding a multi-story residential dormitory in its place. And the other one is expanding the South Campus apartments, which is kind of currently going on now. It looks like I think the idea is to add an additional story to all of those. They have they do have the modular housing over on Matlack Street. That's what they're using kind of to move some of the students around while they begin this work. But the South Campus apartments are probably going to come first. It might be a few more years before we see any work done at Lawrence. But that is definitely something the borough is going to watch. Interestingly, all viable housing options are only in the borough. For some reason, West Goshen Township doesn't actually is not permitted. No residential uses are permitted in West Goshen Township. So I'm not sure how they negotiated that, but the borough will be paying attention. Another area of question is parking, as is always the case with Westchester Borough. We have limited street parking, and a lot of the students like to find that street parking as it may be more convenient, or maybe it's just cheaper than parking in the garages. And it is kind of at odds with the university. The university doesn't have a parking problem themselves. Actually, they believe they have a little bit too much parking, and they feel like once they get more students in these new dorms, that demand will actually decrease further. So they're looking to lose a few spaces, and not a ton, but a few. However, the borough is constantly struggling with overparked streets. So that is something that the borough wants to do and investigate themselves to make sure the parking analysis matches what they would suggest. The other piece that hasn't really got a lot of mention yet is the university would like to close South Church Street from the area of University
here.
Avenue. Wait.
I see
Sharpless.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I think it's Sharpless to Rosedale.
Church Street, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to put that in, I guess. So I think it's Sharpless to Rosedale. It's the area that kind of where the food trucks are. But they would like to close that and turn that into a pedestrian park area for the university. This has been floated several times in the past, but it has never come to fruition, obviously. So that's back on the board. Questions about what that'll look like, obviously, are kind of anticipated. Another area that the borough is watching is there are about 12 properties on South High Street between Sharpless and University Avenue that the university would like to purchase. So they have their eyes on those. Obviously, they'd have to wait till they come up for sale on market. It's not like an eminent domain thing. They're not going to be forcing anybody out, but they would like to kind of build out there. When it comes to the borough, what that would mean is if the university does buy up that property, it's just one more property that is no longer that is tax exempt, and so it kind of hits the tax rolls there for the borough. So they're obviously going to pay attention to that as well. So those are just kind of a few of the things in this document. It covers changes to all kinds of things: infrastructure, sports, infrastructure, the student center, lots of different projects that the university has kind of outlined for the next 10 years. It's a lot to cover, so I think in the newsletter, I'm looking at kind of introducing a multi-part series, especially kind of focused over the summer, where maybe we'll dive into some of these issues in greater detail and see if we can figure out what's going on and what the questions may be around those. So I've opened that up. If anyone has any thoughts or ideas and they'd like to know more about any of these things, you can reach out at Cara@hellowestchesterpa.com. That's my email address. Just drop a line with your questions, and we'll kind of look into specific areas in greater detail. It's just too much to cover in one newsletter. And I should probably make a note, too, on timing for this. So right now, West Goshen Township and Westchester Borough kind of have their experts, if you will, their outside engineers and traffic firms and all those people, as well as their planning commissions, reviewing these documents, raising their own concerns and questions. Westchester University has asked that a public hearing be held by both municipalities by the end of the summer, by the end of August. So neither one of those hearings has been scheduled yet, but That's kind of the unofficial deadline. I've already heard rumors it might get pushed because of, obviously, the scope of this.
And then also in August, I saw that's when the Matlack courts open.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so those would be the first year for those courts, the modular projects, which I have not been over recently to check them out, but probably should take a ride over there and see how they're coming along.
Yeah, so, and you have in your newsletter here the timeline, so it's been something that's since December, so they completed the master plan at the time, and there's been a lot of things happening since then.
Yeah.
So, but August, the next things up here is the Matlack courts, and then the feedback due to Westchester University, but you said that may be pushed back a little bit.
Might be pushed back, and yeah, if you're over at the university or have been recently, you'll notice that there's already quite a few things in the works. I'm assuming smaller projects that probably don't need these outside approvals.
Right, so we'll wait to see what happens there. But that is the Westchester University, the master plan. And then the second story we have here, second reading bookstore on Church Street, closing after 40 years.
Yes, so if you're not familiar or not familiar with the name, this is the used bookstore on Church Street. It's been a fixture, for almost half a century now. And it's an all-volunteer bookstore whose proceeds goes to support the Westchester Area Senior Center. It's kind of been a local favorite for a while now, and I know a lot of people were sad to see it close, but it did close earlier this month. A lot of questions as to maybe why it was closing, so I was caught up with Westchester Area Senior Center Interim Director Kim Andrews on the sitter's decision to close the store, and she really was saying that they're moving into a new director, they have a new executive director coming on board shortly. I think they're naming them within the next couple of weeks if they haven't already. And they really wanted to kind of focus back on their primary goal, which is providing services to their members and seniors. Their core missions of enriching the lives of older adults. So they really wanted to focus on their programs, their activities, their in-house education and nourishment, all those programs, kind of the stuff that's happening on site. They did own the building. I do think that getting rid of the building provided an influx of cash that they may also have plans for. So the building has been sold. Don't know what it will be used for in the future, who purchased it.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I know. It's everybody's next question, right? Like, what's going to come in there now? But it did sell early this summer, which is kind of part of what pushed the closure through.
Yeah, it looks like there was something in the Daily Local as well that it closed. This was from June 6th, so it had been, I guess you said the beginning of the month is when it closed?
I think they announced their closing at the beginning of the month. I think they closed the following week. I wrote her out originally on the 6th as well, and it hadn't closed at that point, but it was closing within that next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so over 40 years, nearly 40 years, the beloved Westchester bookstore closed here, but we'll see what happens going forward.
Yes, and we do have the two bookstores now, so, as of a year ago or two, whatever, it was our only bookstore, so now at least there are a couple other options if you need a book to read.
Right, definitely, and if you're a student, there's a library as well. So
there's always that.
I guess there's a third one there. So that is the bookstore on Church Street closing after 40 years in operation. We'll see what happens next with the building. We're at 11:44. Let's take a break, and we'll have much more in the second half of the show. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Hello Westchester here on WCHE, Mondays from 11:30 to noon. I'm Eric Lambera. Co-host is Cara Corridoni. You can subscribe at hellowestchesterpa.com. So we have some quick updates here. The first one being Friends of Everhart Park requesting a concert change. What's going on here?
Yeah, this is pertaining to the Turk's Head Music Festival, which has been held at Everhart Park for the last 55 years. Original concert was held in 1970. In some ways, not much has changed. Still a bunch of people gathering on the park lawn on their blankets as music's play from a small stage. But that piece has maintained the same. Some of the pieces have grown, and that particularly has to do with the vendors and the food trucks and the children's areas. And while the vendors in the children's area are pretty low profile, they don't do too much damage. The Friends of Everhart Park has begun raising some concerns around the food trucks. These are very heavy vehicles. I talked with Dale Friends of the Friends of Everhart Park, and he was particularly talking about the ice trucks. The ice trucks are not only extremely heavy because they are filled with ice, they have to run constantly in order to keep the ice cold. And the trucks are parked in the park, often alongside the walkways and on top of the root systems of the trees. And really all that weight, heat, it can do a lot of damage to the root systems underneath, a lot of stuff that we don't get to see. And so the Friends of Everhart Park are kind of requesting a change and asking that those food trucks be moved to a street that maybe, either Union Street or Brandywine Street, one of the streets surrounding the park, is closed to traffic the day of the event, and then the trucks just set up there. So that it's a kind of a small change, but something that they would like to see done, and I think they think it will be impactful in kind of preserving the trees. And as they pointed out, no other park in the borough really allows these food trucks in the park. Marshall Square Park also has a summer music concert series, which is going to go on this week. We'll talk about that later. But if you go to that series, you'll notice that the food trucks are parked on the street and you just walk over and get it. So they're going to bring that up with the Recreation Committee meeting. But I think they were hoping to raise a little awareness about this kind of hidden problem and maybe get some community support to get those trucks moved.
Yeah, and that meeting, it looks like, will be June 25th.
Yeah,
so on
this
Wednesday
week, right?
Here. So coming up in a couple of days. And I found it interesting just looking at the event here, and there's a little news clipping of it, but the first one had about 500, and now the crowd's estimated about 4,000.
Yeah.
And it was dubbed Little Woodstock.
Yes.
Which that's actually was one of the first things that came to my head because it was right after Woodstock, 1969. Sure. But sure. So over 4,000, so it grew significantly. And so some questions going forward with the food trucks and everything. So that is the Friends of Everhart Park. We're requesting a change there with the vendors, food trucks, all that. Let's go next to Bert's Ice Cream in Bradford Plaza.
Yeah, so this has been kind of thrown around for a little while now. It closed over the winter, but there was some hope that Bert's Ice Cream would reopen with the warmer months, but that is not the case. So just opened in September of 2023, so it was not a real long-lasting fixture, but it was a favorite. I know with the local elementary school crowd, I know my kids have celebrated more than one sports season ending there. But not anymore. We do obviously have plenty of ice cream places.
Was it Ice Cream Westchester? Didn't that just open? Yeah,
Ice Cream Westchester just opened in town. Obviously several in town. This one was outside of town. A little easier parking, I think, but
right.
No more.
All comes back to parking. But yeah, so Bert's Ice Cream, so that is now closed for good. Let's go next to the Westchester East softball team, finishing strong.
Yeah, shout out to the Lady Vikings. The softball team made quite a little run. After kind of starting a little slow this season, they went on a major run, beating in the state tournament. So this is the PIAA 5A state softball champion tournament.
I see they beat Cardinal O'Hara first and then Springfield.
Yes.
To advance to the semifinals.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So after coming in second in the district tourney, they beat won first two rounds of the state tournament to advance to the semifinals. Unfortunately, they could not get past a hard-hitting Greencastle Antrim team. lost 13-0 in that one, but still a remarkable season. And top 4 teams in the state is what semifinal means. So nicely done for them. And the other stat I thought interesting is they only had 2 seniors on this team, so looks like they'll all be back next year.
Yeah, a lot of players coming back and going deep into the postseason. You could carry that momentum going forward for sure. So that is the Westchester East softball team. So ended up in the top 4 in the state, lost in so it was the semifinals, correct?
Semifinals, yeah.
Yeah, against
one shy of the championship game.
Against Greencastle, yep. So tough loss there, but a great season for Westchester East. Let's go over next to the Gay Street closure. Solutions remain in limbo. Yeah,
so this is kind of a non-update for you. Earlier this month, Westchester Borough met again with their engineering partners to talk about the Gay Street closure. Obviously, they're looking for ways to permanently, or not permanently, but more securely close the street. They want something that's easily set up and removed. They had a bollard system that kind of ran on tracks and would slid into place. Unfortunately, the system they have chosen seems to be proprietary to a company out of England, and the cost of the system has rose significantly since they bid it last year. So now all the bids are coming back well over budget. They were supposed to be coming back with some more solutions. They haven't really seemed to have any. The best solution they have presented is they're going to rebid with multiple options, which will let them pick and choose how to spend the money if they continue to come in over budget. So it'll go back out to bid before the end of the summer. Hopefully they'll get a solution. The Westchester Borough did receive a $600,000 plus Chester County Community Revitalization Grant. That grant does expire sometime next year, so they really need to kind of get something in place or risk losing that fund. So a little, non-update for you there.
Right. And, of course, we've heard a lot about some of the grants and stuff, so yes. we'll see what happens there going forward.
Been going on forever,
right.
Discussion.
But $677,000, so that'll expire sometime next year. So that is with the Gay Street closure solutions remaining in limbo. Let's go next to Horace Pippin Park getting a new playground.
Yes, so Horace Pippin Park on West Market Street is going to get a new playground refresh, which it needs. I've been to that park myself recently. So last month, the Borough Parks and Rec Department went with several residents in the area and to discuss some potential design options, and they selected one called the Mesa Verde option from Hags Playground Design. And it looks like it includes a couple of slides, a climbing wall, and some monkey bars. So it should be a nice little upgrade for that park.
Yep, so that'll be coming, and it says, so last month they met with residents, as you mentioned. Did it say when that's coming exactly?
No, I think the next step is to place the order for the equipment, and I don't know how long that would take to come in.
Yep, so that'll be coming soon to the Horace Pippin Park on West Market Street. We have 2 more quick updates before we look ahead to some events going on, a lot of things going on this week. But the next one we'll go to is Benchmark Credit Union announces a merger.
Yes. So earlier this month, Benchmark Federal Credit Union announced their intention to merge with the Franklin Mint Credit Union. The merger promises expanded access to banking solutions, branch locations, and financial education. The combined organization will operate under the Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union name and leadership, but the plan is to retain current Benchmark branch employees, or at least as many, I guess, as they can. The merger is expected to be completed in early 2026. It still requires Benchmark Federal Credit Union member votes, so members will have to agree to this.
So it won't be under a Benchmark name, it'll just be under Franklin Mint?
Yeah, so they will be, so it's a merger, but it does seem like the Benchmark name will be going away.
So as Cara mentioned there, so Benchmark Federal Credit Union intentions to merge with Franklin Mint Credit Union, 2026 pending regulatory approval and member vote as well. So Looks like that will be coming soon. And then finally, Jack's Corner Cafe tables are coming back.
Yes. So this has been buzzing around the borough. What happened to those tables? So Jack's Corner at 44 West is kind of that plaza area with the fountain that everybody likes to kind of hang out at. And there used to be cafe tables where you could go and, have a coffee or a donut or eat your ice cream. But sometime this spring they disappeared. A lot of questions about what happened to them, what was going on. But I learned that they were coming back, and I actually walked by this morning. We just got back into town and confirmed they are back there. So the tables are back. And just in time as summer kind of hits its peak, it's nice to be able to sit down and,
especially this week.
Yeah, maybe not. Don't take the ice cream out there this
right.
week. You may not make it through.
Right, but just hang out and all that. But that is Jack's Corner, 44 West Gay Street, as Cara mentioned. So the tables are coming back there, and they are indeed back. So that was Jack's Corner. Looking ahead, we have a few minutes left here. Looking ahead, there are some events going on in the area this week. I know the first one, as they have every week here, the Uptown Theater is going to have their Monday movie night. Yes,
they are having a Monday movie night as per usual, but this one is kind of a bit special. It's The Butler. It is a free movie tonight, so free and open to all. It is in kind of a continuation of the Juneteenth celebrations that were happening last week. So if you would like to check that out, that's a free movie tonight at Uptown. The movie starts at 7. Mm-hmm. Also happening this week on Thursday is the History of Victorian Tea and Etiquette class. So if you were ever curious in etiquette or have a child you think that may need it, Mimi's Team Cottage is hosting a class. The cost is $43.99. That does include a full afternoon tea. Reservations are required for that, but thought that was a little bit fun. Also on Thursday night, Safe Harbor is having a trivia night over at the Chester County History Center. This doors open at 6 p.m. Trivia starts at 6:30. You can get tickets for $30, or you can reserve a table for $240. Each table gets a complimentary a bottle of red and white wine to share, as well as a gourmet cheese board. And then all proceeds go to support Safe Harbor. It sounds like it's going to be a fun evening. If you want to go out and show off your trivia knowledge, get a ticket and do that. It should be fun.
So you said, what date is that?
That's on Thursday as well.
The 26th?
On the 26th, yes.
Yeah, so lots of things going on. I see Thursday as well, the concert in the park at Everhart Park. We were just talking about Everhart Park. Summer concert series, the 26th as well, and the 29th. Yes, definitely. And so it's a lot of the summer concerts are starting as well. Yeah, and as we mentioned, definitely good weather for it. We're at 12 o'clock. We're at the top of the show. Thank you, Cara, as always. And thank you, listeners, and we'll be back next time. We'll talk to you then.